Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko 2343DV door bottom in a UN or unnotched version. Okay, available in unnotched and notched, and we're going to go over what that means now. So the difference between notched and unnotched is simply this. You can have an application where you require a source of fresh air, like a hotel suite, where there will be an internal air conditioning, heating unit that is within the space. There does need to be a source of fresh air. So in that sort of application, you're not really trying to guard against a significant disparity in temperature or preventing the intrusion of rain and wind from the bottom of the door, but you do need to seal it, certainly for light. You need to seal it potentially for fire rating purposes under UL 10C. You might need to certainly need to potentially seal it for just sound. And of course, you do want to deaden the transmission of air and temperature, but you still need air to flow through, so you'd have a notched version. The UN is the unnotched version, which is this. If it was notched, you would have staggered notches through the vinyl that would allow the path of air to flow through to be a source of fresh air for such an air handling unit. But in a residential application, or a commercial application for that matter, on an exterior door, you want to seal the door, and you don't want any notches. So you would get the unnotched version, and that's really where this is used. A very elegant piece of door weather stripping that's going to have this slid-in piece of vinyl down in here. You obviously are going to have these slotted holes, so you would separate the vinyl and the aluminum. You'd slide that right out. You would attach your aluminum to the bottom of the door, and then slide your vinyl in once the installation was complete. There's an image below this video showing the important dimensional properties of the item, and you'll want to really be sure that you can accommodate this. They're saying 11/16. Indeed, that's going to be about 11/16. You might want to be in the range of like a 5/8 undercut, so you've got just a small amount of contact there. You don't want it certainly too tight. You don't want to try to compress that down significantly. You will prematurely fatigue these fins, there's no doubt. I suppose if you have something greater than 11/16, you might need to shim that off the bottom of the door, which would not be very elegant. You'll want to create an undercut that is compliant with the door bottom that you're using, because coming up with some way to pad this off, while you might be able to cheat it a small amount, if you were to add a washer, let's say, to build that down slightly, you certainly could. But you don't want to do that too much, because while this is only 1 3/16 wide, at least the aluminum housing is, you don't want to allow light to escape through underneath the door there, nor weather. And obviously, if you were to get down on the floor and look under the door, you'd be able to see any sort of attempt to mitigate the improper undercut for this. I suppose you could also, and I don't have many people that do it, but it's been done, you could also mortise this to the bottom of your door so that you can recess it up in to get a tighter margin. That might be an elegant thing to do as well. And actually, you could even cheat that a little bit by adding, meaning not cheat it, you could build into it future adjustability by running a screw through there and then a spring, so that you could tighten that a little bit and just play with the projection of the item across the entire bottom of the unit. I wouldn't mortise it, I wouldn't consider, a lot of adjustability, except but maybe half of the width, or I should say the height of the aluminum extrusion, which appears to be about 3/16, maybe a 1/4 inch. But that's one way that you could potentially tweak this. Now, another way that you could do that as well, and it's not often used in this scenario, but it's not unheard of, is to use it as an astragal. Okay, it's not unheard of to use this as an astragal. You're going to certainly want to crimp the aluminum when you're done. When the vinyl is in place, you're going to want to crimp it here to prevent this from creeping at all. You don't want it to move. And if you get a piece of weather stripping, certainly from Pemko and others, you'll see a little center punch crimp that's been done, and that's not damage. That's to keep the material from moving on you. This is available in only a 36-inch length or a 48-inch length. It is available notched and unnotched. It is available in the mill aluminum finish and the dark bronze finish. A for mill aluminum and then D for the dark bronze. It's listed in the website in only to those two lengths, so it's quite certain that you'll have to trim this. Pemko does not, because it's only offered in these two lengths, they're going to want to ship it out at those two lengths. But it's just a piece of aluminum. I wouldn't be too concerned over cutting it. You know, I'd have a nice blade. I would want to probably trim it from one end and leave the factory edge on the other side to slide my vinyl in, and then maybe crimp the cut end, whatever the case might be. You'll have those slotted holes that are there, and that's handy because it'll allow you to get some lateral positioning on the door bottom to help really center that. You know, that will allow you to contend for a door that doesn't sit correct in the frame, or certainly if you're using it as an astragal, to allow it to contend with a door that may not be completely in alignment with another door. Mortising it as an astragal would certainly be a really slick idea because you could tailor that, and if you're going to use it, and while this is a huge gap, it's not unheard of to see such large gaps where you need to fill that kind of space, which is wholly the reason why someone would use something so large, because the gap between the doors is obtuse. It's far larger than it needs to be. So keep that in mind. You might use this in an ill-fitted pair of doors on a church that has surface vertical rod exit devices, and you need something to seal that off. And this you're going to need to order it in two lengths. I'm going on and on about only two lengths. You would have to seam those two together if you're going to use it as an astragal, probably a couple of 4-foot pieces. Keep that in mind. That would be, and I just thought of it after the fact, that would not be ideal, but could very likely solve the problem as well. There is, regarding those screw holes, there are screws that are included in a complementary finish. You're not going to see the screws anyway because they'll be concealed. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Pemko products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the Pemko, they're part number 2343DV36UN, and if you want the 48-inch, 2343DV48UN. That'll get you to where you want. If you want the notched version, you simply drop the UN and it will inherently be a notched unit. Any questions on the Pemko 2343 DV36 or 48 UN unnotched door bottom or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.